It may not be Christmas, but for beer drinkers, especially those of us who enjoy IPAs, it's the most wonderful time of the year because it's fresh hop season. That's my happy smell. So, hey, welcome to another episode of Cheering the Brew. It's me, Matthew, and today I will be drinking Hellbent Brewing Company's Early Harvest Fresh Hop IPA from Seattle, Washington. I picked this up just the other day from Brian Balland of Pack Mule Beer, and it was canned pretty recently, and he got it to me pretty quickly because he's a peach. It is my first fresh hop of 2025. Yay. Interesting, some vanilla frosting notes there. I mean, it's not the only aroma. So it's a little bit darker, to the darker side of a pale. The head is very interested in hanging on. There's a bit of viscosity to the beer too, like beneath the head. It feels like the beer itself still has a little bit of legs. That's interesting. There's a nice dankness in there, thinking like wet northwest rainforest kind of aromas. There's also a really subtle spiciness in the far back end of that. There's no information on what goes into here on the can. There's a QR code to follow for more information, but yeah, that's all that's there. So it's definitely West Coast with that dank, almost spiciness. Definitely West Coast. But as I have said in past years regarding fresh hop beers or fresh hops are akin to fresh flowers, as opposed to the sort of hops that you get in 99.9% of the other beers out there, which have been kilned, baked in an oven, or nowadays there's extracts being involved for some additional aroma. But in general, a fresh hop will produce more delicate flavors, and so you might have to use more of it, or just accept that your beer will be more delicately flavored. So I'm not getting punched in the face by any huge hop aromas here necessarily, but there's definitely wafting on the breeze this really nice northwest rainforest kind of dankness, a little bit of spiciness like way in the back end, and just a touch of resin note. And then yeah, this kind of interesting, I think the darkness of the beer indicates there's darker malts in here. And so there's also a little bit of caramel kind of sugar sweetness, which I think I was picking up as kind of a frosting note initially. Smells good. Let's taste it. Okay, that is a pretty soft beer by IPA standards. The malts are decently sweet. The almost frosting note continues through. Yeah, there's definitely the malts have some slight roastiness to them. So there's kind of a brown sugar or a sugar syrup and a creaminess. But then slowly building, there's this really nice, definitely to the dank side. So funkier, moist, dark earth with like years and years of pine needle buildup and ferns being the primary things growing at ground level kind of aromas or kind of flavors going on here. I guess I don't generally eat the dark, moist earth, but what you smell through your nose, that's what you're tasting, or it's what I'm tasting at least. I think the sweetness of the malt kind of sets your mind up for where it's going, for where the beer's going. And the delicate note of the hops, like really, really lightly floral, and then, you know, pine needle, dark earth, are really subtle, and the hop buildup is really slight. Normally with bitterness, it can take some time to build up. The IBUs, you know, it's not like you're going to taste all that bitterness right away. Even with the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest that I drank recently, that was a pretty highly hopped fest beer. It took a minute or two for that bitterness to really start showing up, and then it became, you know, what it was. So here, it's only very, very, very slowly and subtly building up this really nice, pleasant bitterness. But it stays really soft, really light, like feathery, like moss, like fresh moss still there on the ground that hasn't been disturbed or dried or anything. Some orange notes, and so it feels like there's some orange stuff, and then it fades into that sweetness. And oh, there's some more of the bitterness coming in finally. Yeah, I like this. Is a real slow burn of a beer. I appreciate that. Yeah, as you're drinking more, that kind of citrus and pine with the sweetness of the malt. It slowly the citrus pine and dank notes, they're slowly building, really slowly, and it still hasn't gotten really powerful. I don't know what this is rated as far as IBUs, or if they even took the time. Yeah, it says not applicable IBUs, so they didn't take the time to get it rated for IBUs. 30, 40 maybe, I would guess. But it's a real slow burn, and it's really like darkly pleasant. I like that they paired the fresh hops with this sweeter and slightly roasty malt that made it kind of unique in the fresh hops that I've had. And I appreciate that. It feels like the beer has some body. Sometimes fresh hop beers will be really light because the hops are so light. And so by using a slightly darker malt, you can give the beer the malt body that then it feels like a more fortifying or powerful or stronger beer. It is 6.2% ABV. And then you just have to add enough hops to give them something to say in that conversation that is all the flavors of the beer. And I appreciate that. That's pretty good. It reminds me of Double Mountain's fresh India Red Ale, though not nearly so powerful. I think that is a very, very powerful beer. And if you ever get your hands on it, I don't recall if I actually did it here on channel. I might have. It would have been a pretty early beer in my beer review history. Maybe not the fresh hop. I've had their regular India Red Ale. I know they do a fresh hop that I think I've drunk. I just don't know if I've actually reviewed that one on channel. But that's a pretty powerful, kind of amber brown ale, amber more like, with a really strong hop character. And this feels like it's approaching that. It has a similar perspective on the application of fresh hops. And that's certainly not a bad beer to ape. I like it. That's a good beer. You do not find these on store shelves for very long. Fresh hops are only just now coming out. I believe they've been out maybe a week, maybe 10 days at this point, depending on where you are at. They're very geographically limited. You generally have to be nearby to hop fields in order to get fresh hop beers, because just like fresh flowers, fresh hops fade quickly. They are typically only brewed by breweries that can get the hops the same day they are harvested. Like, they are added to the beers within hours. It can't even wait till the next day because the hops are going to be no good. They're very, very, very delicate. And a lot of those aromas and flavors that you're looking for are very quick to leave. So very limited time range. You're going to only get them while the hops are being harvested, which extends usually through September. You'll get the last few fresh hop beers being released in the end of September, possibly as late as early October, depending on geography and the type of beer that's being released. But they also need to be drunk very quickly, because everything I've said about IPA beers needing to be drunk fresh applies 10 times more so for fresh hop beers. Because just because you put the fresh hops in the brew kettle and then finish brewing your beer does not lock and seal and preserve those aromas and flavors. They will continue to fade, and the beer might still be okay, but it's going to lack that wonderful, bright vibrancy and verdancy that is characteristic of the fresh hop. So when you see a fresh hop on your store shelf, check its date. 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, is probably about what you'll want to look for if it's been refrigerated, and then drink it fast. Anyways, this is me, Matthew, drinking and definitely enjoying Hellbent Brewing Company's Early Harvest Fresh Hop IPA, and I will catch y'all on the flip side.